We've all been there, scrolling through social media at midnight, seeing people living their best lives while we're just trying to figure out why that last ice cream didn't make us as happy as we thought it would. Here's the thing. Happiness isn't random. It isn't just luck or genetics. It's a skill. And like any skill, it can be learned, practiced, and mastered through evidence-based techniques. I'm about to walk you through the science of happiness, not the fluffy, just think positive advice you've heard 1,000 times, but actual research-backed strategies that really work. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why your brain keeps sabotaging your happiness efforts and the surprisingly simple daily habits that can override these patterns. Let's dive into the science of becoming genuinely happier. No toxic positivity required. Chapter 1. Foundational Happiness Frameworks. Imagine happiness like a pie chart. Most people think external circumstances, money, relationships, appearance, make up most of that pie. Turns out, they're only a tiny slice. Here's what blew my mind when I first learned it. Around 40% of your happiness comes from the things you actively choose to do every day. Not your genetics, not your life circumstances, your daily choices. That 40% is where all your power lies. Almost half of your happiness is completely within your control. But wait, you might say, I bought that amazing jacket last month and felt great. True, but then something weird happened, didn't it? That happiness boost faded. This is called hedonic adaptation. Your brain's annoying tendency to get used to good things and stop appreciating them. It's like your brain has a happiness thermostat permanently set to meh. Win the lottery. After about 3 months, you'll likely return to your baseline happiness. Get that promotion? Same deal. The good news is that we can hack this system. Research shows that introducing variety and consciously appreciating good things helps prevent adaptation. Simply put, switch things up and actually take time to savor what's good. Here's where most people go wrong. There are actually 2 types of happiness. Hedonic happiness is about pleasure. The Netflix binge, the ice cream sundae. Eudaimonic happiness is about meaning and purpose. The volunteer work that exhausts you but feels deeply fulfilling. The paradox? Activities that create lasting happiness often don't feel immediately pleasurable, while things that feel immediately good rarely create lasting happiness. That's why scrolling TikTok feels great in the moment, but leaves you feeling empty an hour later. Even if your genes give you a certain happiness set point, you can override it through consistent practices. Your genes might load the happiness gun, but your habits pull the trigger. To make this practical, start measuring your happiness across multiple dimensions. Not just, am I happy? But, am I satisfied with my life? Do I experience positive emotions regularly? Do I feel engaged in what I do? And get this, even trauma can eventually lead to greater happiness through something called post-traumatic growth. This isn't toxic positivity. It's the real observation that struggle often leads to greater resilience and appreciation of life. And finally, those magical flow moments when you're so absorbed in an activity that time seems to disappear. The trick is finding activities that are just difficult enough. Not so easy you get bored, but not so hard you get frustrated either. The sweet spot is where challenge meets skill. So remember, 40% of your happiness is in your control through daily choices. That's where the magic happens. Chapter 2, Daily Habit Architectures. So we know happiness is largely about habits, but let's be honest, we all struggle with consistency. The solution isn't more willpower, it's smarter strategy. One of the most effective techniques is habit stacking. Attach a new habit to an existing one. Instead of saying, I'll meditate every day, try, after I brush my teeth, I'll meditate for 2 minutes. Your established habit becomes the trigger for the new one. Now here's where it gets fun. Research shows that combining something you need to do with something you want to do creates a powerful motivation loop. Participants who could only listen to addictive audiobooks while exercising showed up at the gym way more often. What does this look like in real life? Only watching your favorite show while folding laundry. Only drinking that fancy coffee while working on your taxes. Your indulgence becomes the reward that pulls you through the difficult task. Modern life has created another problem: dopamine overload. Our brains are constantly seeking dopamine hits, but we have too many easy options. Social media, food delivery, streaming services. The result is a kind of numbness to joy. The solution? Create two personal menus: high dopamine activities, scrolling, snacking, shopping, and low dopamine, high satisfaction activities, reading, walking, creating. When you need joy, consciously choose from either menu, understanding the different effects each will have. One fascinating area most people overlook is working with your natural body rhythm. Forcing night owls to function on morning lark schedules significantly impacts happiness. Working with your natural rhythm rather than against it can dramatically improve your mood. And what about when we inevitably slip up? Having a specific plan for getting back on track is more important than trying to maintain perfect consistency. The most successful habit formers aren't those who never fail. They're those who recover quickly from failures. Try this incredibly simple but effective technique. At the end of each day, write down 3 small wins, no matter how tiny. I flossed 1 tooth counts. This creates a perception shift from focusing on your massive to-do list to recognizing incremental progress. Remember, tiny changes consistently applied create massive results over time. Chapter 3: Social Happiness Dynamics. If there's one thing the research is crystal clear on, it's this: social connections are the single strongest predictor of happiness. Here's something counterintuitive. The thing we fear most, showing our authentic, imperfect selves, is exactly what creates the deepest connections. We get trapped in this weird cycle where we try to appear perfect, which prevents genuine connection, which makes us less happy. Next time you're tempted to keep the conversation at "I'm fine," try sharing one small, genuine struggle instead. Watch what happens. Relationships are built on what researchers call emotional bids, small requests for connection that people make throughout the day. "Look at that beautiful bird" is not just a comment about a bird. It's a bid for shared attention and connection. Couples who responded positively to these bids stayed together at dramatically higher rates than those who routinely missed or rejected them. The lesson applies to all relationships. Noticing and responding to these small connection attempts strengthens your bonds. Perhaps the most surprising finding is about giving. When participants were given money to spend, those who spent it on others experienced significantly more happiness than those who spent on themselves, even when they predicted the opposite would happen. This creates what's called helper's high, a measurable rush that comes from benefiting others. The effect is so powerful, it shows up on brain scans similar to the pleasure of receiving rewards ourselves. Ever notice that magical feeling when you're part of a group, all focused on the same thing, like at a concert or sports event? Research shows these moments of collective joy create happiness, boost that last for days afterward. The key is shared attention and emotional synchrony, and don't underestimate the power of touch. Simple physical contact, holding hands, hugging, a pat on the back, reduces activity in brain regions associated with threat and danger. In our increasingly digital world, many experience touch starvation without realizing it. Regular, meaningful hugs with loved ones can have powerful effects. Longer hugs release oxytocin, reducing stress hormones and promoting feelings of connection. The takeaway? Prioritize authentic connection over perfect appearances. Notice and respond to emotional bids. And remember that giving often creates more happiness than receiving. Chapter 4: Cognitive Reconditioning. Our next chapter deals with the most powerful tool you have, your perception. Here's a fascinating twist on gratitude. It's not just about being thankful for good things. Imagining how things could have been worse creates even stronger positive emotions. People who journaled about what might have been if certain good things hadn't happened showed significant happiness increases in just a few weeks. One of the most powerful techniques comes from something called cognitive diffusion. The idea is simple but profound. Your thoughts are not facts. They're just mental events passing through your awareness. Try this. When a negative thought arises, instead of fighting it, add the phrase, "I'm having the thought that," before it. "I'm a failure" becomes, "I'm having the thought that I'm a failure." This small linguistic shift creates psychological distance and reduces emotional impact dramatically. Here's something that explains a lot of disappointment. Humans are terrible at predicting how future events will make them feel. We consistently overestimate both the intensity and duration of emotional reactions to both positive and negative events. This impact bias explains why that promotion, new car, or relationship doesn't deliver the lasting happiness you expected. The solution? Focus less on achieving future states and more on appreciating current ones. What you pay attention to literally becomes your reality. Our brains are constantly filtering the millions of inputs they receive, deciding what deserves focus. The practical application? Deliberately engineer your attention landscape. Remove triggers for comparison. Unfollow accounts that make you feel inadequate. Create visual reminders of your values and goals, and set specific worry times rather than letting anxiety intrude throughout your day. The mind is a powerful tool, but left unguided, it often works against your happiness. These evidence-based cognitive techniques put you back in control. Chapter 5. Physiological leverage points. Now let's get physical, because your body and brain are basically roommates who are constantly texting each other about how they're feeling. People with better body awareness, the ability to notice internal sensations, actually experience more intense positive emotions and fewer negative ones. The body sends constant signals about your emotional state that most of us completely miss. Try this simple exercise. Spend 2 minutes scanning your body from head to toe, noting sensations without judgment. This builds the neural pathways necessary for emotional regulation. One of the most powerful physiological tools is simply breathing. Specific breathing patterns can activate your body's relaxation response, significantly reducing anxiety and stress markers. A simple technique to try: inhale for 4 counts, hold for 2, exhale for 6, hold for 2, repeat. The longer exhale compared to inhale is the key. It sends a powerful chill-out signal to your nervous system. The gut-brain connection is another frontier in happiness research. Your gut microbiome directly influences mood through the vagus nerve. Certain beneficial bacteria actually produce the same neurotransmitters that regulate mood. Incorporating fermented foods, fiber-rich vegetables, and reducing processed foods has been shown to improve mood in as little as 4 weeks, sometimes comparable to conventional treatments. Night owls forced into early schedules show chronically elevated stress hormones. And we can't ignore exercise, one of the strongest mood boosters available. Even modest amounts, around 3 sessions of moderate movement weekly, substantially reduces depression risk. The key is finding movement you don't hate. Dance, hike, garden, anything that gets you moving. Your body isn't just carrying your brain around. It's actively creating or sabotaging your emotional experience every minute of every day. Chapter 6. Advanced optimization. Now for some advanced strategies that might surprise you. Brain scans have revealed something fascinating. Acts of kindness activate the same reward centers in our brains as receiving money or eating chocolate. We are literally wired to feel good when helping others. But here's the catch. The happiness boost from giving is highest when we can see the direct impact of our contribution and when it feels like a free choice rather than an obligation. This explains why mandatory volunteer days often feel draining, while spontaneous acts of kindness feel energizing. Here's a counterintuitive one. Voluntary discomfort. Deliberately introducing mild discomfort. Cold showers, fasting, physical challenges resets your pleasure baseline, making normal conditions feel more enjoyable afterward. There's a reason a regular shower feels amazing after camping, and why food tastes incredible after skipping a meal. By occasionally and voluntarily stepping outside your comfort zone, you enhance your capacity for appreciating ordinary pleasures. Research shows it's not stress itself that damages well-being, but rather chronic, unrelenting stress without recovery periods. The solution isn't eliminating stress, impossible and actually undesirable, but strategically inserting recovery periods. Even short periods of conscious relaxation after stressful events can help reduce the negative effects of stress. And finally, here's why initially unpleasant activities, exercise, cold plunges, public speaking, can eventually become sources of pleasure. The discomfort triggers a compensatory pleasure response that, with repetition, begins to dominate the experience. This explains why runners get addicted to an activity that initially feels terrible. Stick with difficult but beneficial activities long enough, and your brain literally rewires to enjoy them. These advanced strategies work by leveraging your brain's natural tendencies rather than fighting against them. Chapter 7. Unconventional approaches. Modern research on sensory deprivation reveals surprising benefits. Controlled sensory reduction, float tanks, silent retreats, darkness therapy creates unique benefits including enhanced creativity, problem solving, and mood improvement. Research shows floating sessions can significantly reduce stress hormones and promote relaxation, offering benefits similar to meditation. Nature exposure offers specific benefits. Around 2 hours weekly in natural settings provides substantial mental health benefits. Even more surprising, this effect holds whether it's one long exposure or several short ones. If you can't access nature regularly, even looking at nature imagery for short periods has been shown to restore attention and improve cognitive performance. Smell is another powerful tool. Scents bypass normal memory processing, creating direct emotional responses, which is why a particular smell can instantly transport you emotionally. You can experiment with this. When experiencing positive emotions, notice the scents around you. These smell-emotion associations can sometimes help bring back aspects of positive feelings when you encounter the scent again. These unconventional approaches offer unique pathways to happiness that complement traditional methods. Top 5 evidence-backed interventions. If you're feeling overwhelmed with options, here are the 5 interventions with the strongest research support. Gratitude journaling. Just 3 specific items daily provides massive returns. The key is specificity, not just my family, but the way my partner laughed during our conversation this morning. Awareness. Simply noticing and responding positively to others' attempts at connection dramatically improves relationships. The difference between and wow, you're right, that is a beautiful bird, is the difference between connection and disconnection. Body rhythm alignment. Working with rather than against your natural sleep energy patterns improves mood substantially. This might mean negotiating flexible work hours or restructuring your most demanding tasks around your energy peaks. Breathing techniques. The 4-2-6-2 pattern, inhale, hold, exhale, hold, activates your body's relaxation response, helping you recover from stress more quickly. Regular movement. Consistent, moderate physical activity significantly reduces depression risk. The key is consistency over intensity. Walking absolutely counts. We've covered a lot of ground, from understanding how happiness actually works, to specific daily habits, social connections, to mind hacks, body strategies, to advanced techniques. The science is clear. Happiness isn't a mysterious state that happens to lucky people. It's a set of skills, practices, and habits that anyone can learn. Start small. Pick just one technique from this video and implement it consistently for 3 weeks before adding another. Small, consistent changes create lasting results. Disclaimer. While these techniques have strong research support, this video isn't a substitute for professional mental health care. If you're struggling with clinical depression, anxiety, or other mental health conditions, please combine these practices with appropriate professional support. Remember, happiness isn't about feeling good all the time. It's about having the tools to navigate the full range of human emotions while maintaining a sense of meaning, connection, and purpose. Let me know in the comments which technique you're going to try first, and subscribe for more science-based strategies for living better. Until next time, your happiness is a skill. Practice it daily.